Hello everyone, my name is Coltum, and today my video is going to be showing you guys my ninja skill build, what I think you should focus on, and how my skills are and where my gear is at this very moment. Um, so, to start off, I think I would like to talk about the skills themselves. So I will just go through, show you guys my skill trees and what I think is important to maximize in the early game so that you can use as little of those skill point resets as possible. So in this first tree here, the thief tree, I have a just level 1 this, and then for aerial frenzy, I think that is a skill that you probably don't need to have for PvE. It is certainly helpful for PvP, which is what I used to do on this character. But yeah, so I think if you want this, you can get it, but it's not really all that necessary for PvE. So if you need the skill points, then I would say save it. Now for this attack as well, I would say, because you need, I would say that even level 1 for this skill is fine. The reason I have it for level 3 is because, again, in PvP, when you use that skill, it launches people into the air. Um, and if it's at level 1, it will not do that, and I think that can be really helpful for fighting mobs. So having this down attack, which is called Cut Down, at level 1 for PvEs is very, very nice. Now Rocket Punch, I believe that Rocket Punch is absolutely not necessary at all for PvE. So that's kind of a common thing here for the first tree, is that you just, all of these skills right here, you don't really need at all. This is going to help later because these skills are going to take up quite a few skill points, especially like this one. So it's nice to maximize that as soon as you can. Now, down here and up here are the most important skills for Thief. Now the reason that I upped this attack is, as you can see here, it says generate a 70% chance to execute extra combo hits at 72% attack power during your second and fourth combo attacks. Now if you'll notice, when I like to fight monsters and go through dungeons, one of the things that you will see frequently is I use this combo that I'll show you right here. So I really like to use this combo because it can hit the monsters that are X attack resistance, and it can just group them up so that you can use, Violent Blow or this ninja attack. So yeah, I think this is really useful because basically on the second attack, which is right there, the Z right there, or the X, the fourth X right there, the 4, what it can do is it can basically do another attack in one. So it's basically attacking twice in one attack, at a 70% chance, obviously, for 72% attack power. So that's basically just adding more damage to when you're fighting monsters and stuff like that. So that's why I have it at level 5, because that can help a lot. And for that, you obviously want to max your attack speed because it'll allow you to be able to go faster. Mine is not maxed right now, and I'll get into that a little bit later and why. So down here, these two buffs you can get are the health buff and the dexterity agility buff. Um, my health buff is at 5/5 right now. Honestly, I don't really think that you need this buff. If you have sufficient defense for fighting dungeons and things like that for PvE, this is really not all that useful. I'll show you guys. I'll disable it really quick here. Um, and as you can see, my HP is now at 75,856. And when I use the skill, it goes up 1,500 health. So it's really not all that useful, and you can just save your skill points. But this skill down here, the dexterity buff, I have it at level 10, and I think that that is a really good idea for anyone. I would say that this is a skill that you can get to level 10 a little later. There are a few skills later down the line that are more important to get to level 10, and obviously we'll get to that a little later. This Thief Stealth, I actually do use this quite a bit because it gives the movement speed increase and the critical damage increase. And again, I'll get into that a little later with my skill build and my equipment build. But there's that first tier. Then Infiltrator. Obviously you're gonna get these skills to max, these three here. These ones are not really all that important. They actually don't really do that much for you at all as a ninja for PvE. And then this skill is nice to have for dodging attacks. So let's say you're running the Dungeon of Destiny and the Destiny Dragon does that one skill that can hit you from anywhere on the map. Well, if you just burrow down, you can dodge it, and that can be one of your dodges. Obviously, you don't really need that if you know how to use the Mirene's skill and the Paris Revenge skill. But it can obviously be nice to have just for any occasion. This skill is not really necessary, and this skill again is just another dodge, except for it takes a little bit for it to wind up. So it's okay, but I have it just at the level to be able to up my swift attack because obviously you can see you need level 2 um, to be able to upgrade your swift attack. So that's what I've done. And then this side over here is very important to max. I actually don't have my strong Qatar maxed right now, and the reason that I don't is because I'm even, as you can see, my skill points are not that high right now. This will be the next skill that I max, um, so later I will be doing that. But I would say the most important skills to max, because as you can see, I have 4 level 10 skills on this second tree here. And the most important one is the throwing dagger, because the throwing dagger is one of your most important skills to have. It does the most damage for you, and you can use it every 2 seconds, which is really quite nice. And that's going to be doing most of your DPS. So when you're using your skills to fight against bosses and such, you're going to want to use that dagger as much as possible. The other skills, like these skills, they're just secondary to the dagger, and you should always be working around trying to use your dagger off cooldown. And this one, obviously very important, it increases the amount of daggers that you throw, and then this just increases final damage and crit rate. That's really good. Um, but yeah, so I would say um, the first level 10 skill that you should get when you are a ninja is the throwing dagger. And then the second one is coming up over here, I would say. The second one, the second most important skill to level 10 is Wood Rush. Because Wood Rush can actually do a lot of damage, and you can manipulate Wood Rush on some bosses, like, for example, the fourth boss in the Dungeon of Destiny, or the fourth mini boss. You can push him up against the wall, and that will allow you to hit him with Wood Rush for a very long period of time. And as you can see, it gets really big at level 10. But anyways, elaborating further on um, this third tier here, I would say that Hypnotizer is not important to increase at all, actually. So yeah, this is for PvP, and you do not need this for level 5 if you are PvE. In fact, I would say you don't need any of these 3 skills here for PvE, so that'll save you some skill points. But obviously, if you know you're trying to get all of the skills later down the line when you have a lot of skill points left over, then you can go for them if you choose. This attack is not really that great, that's why I haven't upgraded this. This is a buff that you can get which will increase your movement speed, but it's only for a short duration, which is why I don't really use it, and I do have max movement speed anyways, so at the end of the day, I don't think this is very useful. And maybe you can use it if you would like to, and then use a skill point reset, but I personally didn't do that leveling up, so that's just kind of my take on that. And then obviously you want to get this to level 2 so that you can start upgrading Wood Rush and get that to level 5 and then level 10 as soon as you can. Then over here, the ninja attacks. So as you can see, these first 2 attacks here, I did not upgrade. because they're really not all that useful. This skill, it can be used for PvP. There's like quests that you can do, or sometimes in PvP you will be asked to use this skill for a quest. But other than that, these two skills for PvE are not useful at all. Um, but then going on to these ones, Mist Vanish and Sky Penetration. Mist Vanish and Sky Penetration, you should get level 5 as soon as you can. They are really helpful skills, and they will tie into my skill combination for when I attack bosses, which I will show you guys right after I am done showing you all of my skills. Then going over to the um, final job class change, which is Ninja. Um, this skill is not something that I upgraded. It's not really all that useful, and you have to be really close to bosses for it to actually do anything. But really, it doesn't do a whole large amount of damage at the end of the day, so I have not upgraded it. This skill is really good. It increases your max movement speed at level 5. It's 13%, and that allows you, to be a little more lenient. And once, as you can see, I buff up here, I do have max movement speed, so this will obviously help you get there. All of these skills, if you don't know, these are ones that you will get for doing the last level chain, or the last quest chain of the entire game. So you don't have to worry about these ones. These will come just by getting to level 85 and doing all of your quests. And I did talk about these skills a little bit in my Dungeon of Destiny solo speedrun. So please be sure to check out that video if you haven't seen it already. Now for the attacking skills here on the ninja chain, I would say that the ultimate is not all that important. It doesn't really do that much damage. And then over here, the Shadow Blade is not that great of a skill either, and I haven't upgraded it that much. But this skill here, Crossblade, is actually very, very good, and you can pair this with Wood Rush to do a lot of damage. So I'll just show you here really quick. You would use Wood Rush and then use that, and they kind of go together, and it can do quite a bit of damage against bosses. That's actually where you get the highest DPS for ninjas. So this skill is very important to get level 5. And then this here, the Awakening Charge, I just have it at level 3. It allows you to charge your Awakening so that you can use these skills. I just have that at level 3 just because it's nice. Because at level 1, it'll eat up a lot more of your mana to get that bar, Awakening bar up. And at level 3, it obviously uses less mana. So it's just kind of a way to use less mana when doing it. It's just kind of nice to have. So there you go. Those are all of my skills. Um, and I will go ahead and show you guys what I do for bosses and the way that I use all of my skills in combo to do the most amount of DPS possible as a PvE ninja. Alright everyone, we are back, and now I will actually show you guys my combo, so the skills that I use against bosses and how I can get the most DPS possible. So I'll give you guys a quick demo here before I go into the first mini boss of the Dungeon of Destiny to show you guys what exactly I do. But basically, it revolves around using Wood Rush as soon as you possibly can. It has a 30-second cooldown time, so obviously I just use Wood Rush whenever I can. And then you want to base your skill usage around the dagger. So you should pretty much always be using the dagger off of the cooldown. And the way that I like to do it is I like to use the dagger, and then I have all of these other skills here, and I can basically just use them around my dagger. So as you guys can tell, I guess if you want to break it down, I like to use dagger, then violent blow, then ambush, then dagger again. Then I go into ninja form, I use the 2 ninja skills, and then I come out and I use dagger again. And so I basically just do that a lot, and then you can also mix in the swift attack too if you have the time. But basically, that's just what I do. This is what I do to do the most damage, and This is what you can do to have the maximum DPS possible as the ninja class. So I'll go into the dungeon here, the boss rather, and I will show you guys exactly what I do. So again, use dagger as much as possible, and then basically this is just what I do. So as you can see, I'm using that dagger right off of cooldown as much as I can because it does the most DPS of all of my skills. And then as you can see, my wood rush came back, so I'm gonna want to use that as soon as I get the opportunity to, which I have here. And yeah, so it's really quite basic. It's not all that hard to understand, but the way that I do it is just a way to be able to use all of my skills effectively and to be able to use dagger as much as possible. I cannot stress that enough. Use dagger as much as you possibly can because it just does a large amount of damage. Also with the ninja, you're gonna wanna, as you can see here, use wood rush to your advantage so you can get bosses up against the corner and just do a bunch of damage to them. But other than that, it's really quite simple. And obviously, when you're not in the Dungeon of Destiny, you can use the Crossblade skill, and you want to be using that just as much as you're using Wood Rush off cooldown, because it does a lot of damage as well. But basically, that is my skill breakdown. And in the last section of this video, I'm going to explain to you guys my build, and specifically what I built first and what I think is the most important for when you have just reached 85. So as you can see here, I've got the 5th hero gear, and I'm actually opting to go with the Elemental Paris wings. Now, I previously used to use the Deckard helm, but now that I'm at the point where I don't really need the crit damage, I don't really need the attack speed all that much, and I don't need the movement speed because I can get max movement speed just based off of my thief stealth and the other things that I have in my gear set. So basically, the reason that I use the elemental pair swings is because it gives me a lot more defense. Um, I'll actually I'll go to my bank here, and I will show you guys what it looks like when I do have the Deckard helm on. So as you can see, I have 40,000, around 40,000 defense when I have the Deckard helm on. And then when I switch over to the elemental pair swings, I have 47, almost 48,000 defense. This makes a really big difference when you're doing dungeons like the Dungeon of Destiny, where it is really, really easy to die. Especially because when you are running a PvE build, you are maximizing attack. You're not maximizing your HP like in PvP builds. So as you can see, my HP is pretty low comparably to others who maximize on PvP, which is why you want to make sure you have the most defense possible, and also why you want to make sure you get a Eclipse Earring, just because this allows you to get some HP pretty quickly back when you're doing dungeons and bosses, so that can be pretty helpful as well. So in terms of when you first hit level 85, I would say that you should first go for the normal 5th hero Qatar and the normal 5th hero wings. For me, the reason that I am doing elemental pair swings is because I am at the point where all of my stats are really quite high, and that's just because I've done a lot on this character, and I have gotten my stats to get to a very, very high point. Um, but what I would recommend is that you guys go for the Deckard Helm off the bat, just because, as you can see, it gives movement speed, attack speed, crit damage, critical success rate. It's really just helpful in general, because at the start you're not going to have max attack speed. I don't even have max attack speed right now, but that's not really all that necessary because when I'm in a party, you get an attack speed boost, and I do get up to max. Um, But yeah, it can also give, movement speed and things like that. But when you get to the point of where you can get by without it, I would, just because, as I stated, you can have more defense that way. In terms of my stats, I do have 1300 strength, and we're getting up there in the agility. Right now, I only have a strength 65 pet. Soon I will try to go for the agility 72 and 40 strength. So basically, for PvE builds, um, how you really want to do it is depending on what class you are. So if you are the physical classes, which are the thief and the gladiator and the knight, you want to maximize your strength and your agility. Now, the strength gives you more attack as an overall than the agility does, but when you get to the point where I am, where you have really quite high stats and it's hard to get higher stats, you want to maximize your agility as well, because that's also going to boost up your attack quite a bit. Um, so that's just kind of what you have to look out for. For me, as a ninja, I don't really have to worry about my int stat or my health stat as much. But if you are a mage class, then you are probably going to, well, you obviously are going to max your int stat instead of your strength stat. And also archers, they max their strength and agility as well. Um, so then I would say, if you are going for the normal 5th hero Qatar and then the back, I would try to get a full set going, minus the helm, getting a Deckard helmet, just getting these things right here for whatever class you are, and then from there, I would try to go for the Cerberus solar rings. These give, as it states, 4,100 attack each. That can really boost your attack. It does take quite a while to farm for, but that was one of the first things that I did when I started to really build my character. And then obviously you get these smaller things here for more damage. And then getting the Dionysus or the evolution set will give you that max physical attack. Or if you're a mage, you will do the max magic attack and min magic attack. So yeah, this is my build. Some people ask me about defense break. I do think it is quite important to get. That is why I'm using the evolution Qatar. Also, the evolution Qatar has plus 20 agility, whereas the Easter Blossom Qatar does not. I actually have the Easter Blossom I can show you real quick. So as you can see, it gives you 25 strength, but you don't have the agility. And over here, this gives 25 strength, but also agility. So that's just, maximizing this as much as I can, just so that I can get the most damage as possible. So yeah, right now I have 87,000 attack. I am certainly not done with my build yet. I'm going to be doing option expanding, and in probably the pretty late future, I will be doing a video on option expanding, and I will show you guys the ropes on that. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any other questions, please just let me know in the comments below, and I really appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.